How's it going, everyone? Today I'll be going over the build process of a much older but greatly loved PC build that the OG CSGO community has used over the years. How will this stack up against the newer graphics in Counter-Strike 2? I'm not sure myself, so follow along with me as I break down the PC parts I used in this old but still not out Counter-Strike 2 OG build. Let's get her done. Here in front of me, I have a Z77 Sabertooth, a great motherboard for the time, for the CPUs, and in my opinion, it is still a great motherboard. Today's price versus original price. The Z77 motherboard original price is $269.99 depending on where you bought it. Z77 Sabertooth now price, if you can look for it, you can find it for $104.99 used. Now we'll move on to the processor, aka the CPU. The Intel Core i7-3770K is a desktop processor with 4 cores, 8 threads, and was launched in April 2012 at an MSRP of $313.99. It is part of the Core i7 lineup using the Ivy Bridge architecture with socket LGA 1155. As you can see, mine is delidded. Alrighty, after some time, I got the custom water cooling loop all set up onto it. I'm using a custom water loop just because I want the best thermals. In this older build here, there is no NVMe drive, so we'll be using an SSD. I'll be using a Kingston, which is a favorite, a 240 gig. You can pick these up fairly cheap. So for the RAM of choice, it's going to be DDR3, of course. These are just strictly bare green sticks, Samsung B die. The one I have copper modded and put a RAM cooler stick onto it. It says Kingston. It is not. It is just Samsung B die that you can pick up for fairly cheap. It's 1333 megahertz, but if you get the Samsung B die dual rank, you can overclock these to 2000 plus, no problem. And now we're gonna do a little bit of RAM ASMR. That sound never gets old. Next off, the custom water cooling loop. I am using a 240 ml radiator with a D5 pump and the Corsair water block for thermal. Do not mix your materials. Keep your aluminum with aluminum and copper with copper. Make it a strictly copper build or strictly aluminum build. To make it simpler, the copper and aluminum will oxidize and you'll have chunks and or corrosion, which will affect your D5 pump and or clog up the system, and when you have an overheating system, things will guarantee to fail and or explode. So after that, we'll go on to the next part of the build. This is a much loved, never forgotten, and always has been and always will be the greatest of the great. The EVGA GTX 1080 Ti. Now, I already know this is going to be way overpowered for the i7 3770K, so we will not get to see the full performance of the 1080 Ti, but that does not matter in this video. We are looking to see if we can use these old components and use them to play Counter-Strike 2. The graphics card, or aka the GPU. On March 10th, 2017, NVIDIA officially introduced the GTX 1080 Ti, marking the final release of a high-end GTX GPU. Today's price versus original price. The EVGA GTX 1080 Ti OG price was $699.99. Today's price, EVGA GTX 1080 Ti, is $349.99. For a 11GB graphics card, that is a great price. Now that we got our components all set up, let's put it in a PC and fire her up. As we take a look around, we can see everything fits quite nicely in this NZXT H510 case. Sorry about the shakiness of the camera. I have to get myself a symbol, one of those things that make it so it's not so shaky. Nice and clean, everything looks good. Just checking over everything and make sure there's no wires touching anything right now. Don't want a fan going kabang. Don't want a wire being cut by a fan. The fitment of everything is actually quite nice. You can fit this Corsair D5 pump, which you can buy in the custom water cooling loop kit. Fits quite nicely in this case, even with a big GPU like this. Alrighty, now we gotta give her a test run now, don't we? Let's see if we power her on, and if the screen turns on, we are laughing. Oh, we got some blinking lights. We got blinking lights. The water doesn't look like it's moving that fast. That's because it's not. I had to change this in the settings after the fact. Ooh, look at that little monitor. Alright, everything's looking good. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We got the screen. We are good to go. Find out in the next one to see if this computer with an i7 3770K and a GTX 1080, see if it can play Counter-Strike 2. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you liked the video, like the video. Comment below and tell me how many frames per second this PC is going to get in Counter-Strike 2. If you want to watch part 2, hit that subscribe button to be one of the first to watch. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to get her done.